silence spoke volumes. He didn't deny that he was still seeing the woman. He admitted the affair, but he didn't shut Joellen down. And she was like, you didn't have an affair. You are having an affair. You're still with this woman. And Brian's cat's got his tongue. And I felt terrible for Rulla in that moment. Yeah. She's just sitting there. And what it gave me was Shannon and David Beador vibes when they joined and they were the show, and they were clearly in a very disjointed marriage, and that is the feeling that I have with Rulla and Brian. Welcome to Cocktails and Gossip, the podcast where we drink cocktails, but you better believe we're going to spill the tea. We chat reality TV, celebrity blinds, and the hottest tea from BravoandCocktails.com. And as always, it's all alleged and just for fun. We do not verify our blinds. I'm B.
And I'm Amanda. Let's get into this week's tea.
Amanda, cocktailers, how are you guys?
What is up, everybody? On a high, I feel like, from last night's Zoom. B, how are you doing?
Okay. I'm not hungover. I think I was just excited. I did have 3 glasses of wine, but I stopped. I don't know what I was very activated. Was that crazy?
There was just no. And to be clear, I had my husband snuck in and brought me a cocktail, and it was so strong. So I felt a little tipsy,
lightheaded
towards the end too. But it was just one of those nights where I felt like we could have gone for another 2 hours without stopping.
We did go a long time over. And just so you guys know, the reason we don't do that is because we know that people have a million things to do. And so we don't want to put the pressure on of you guys not coming because you feel like it's this long commitment so we keep it to an hour almost always.
Yeah. And we don't want people to feel too like they missed out if they did have to hop off right at the hour time. But there was no stopping us last night.
Oh my gosh. It was so good. Many people DM me and they were like, that was the best Zoom party. I was like, it was. It's a party.
It is. It really is. So welcome to all. And the other thing that was, I thought, interesting, there were obviously new cocktailers on there, but there were a lot of longtime cocktailers who were like, this is the first one I was finally able to make. And
yes,
we love that.
We love that.
Okay. So much to talk about, but wanted to first say that we haven't talked about Atlanta yet. And I just finished the 2nd episode. So I'm curious kind of to get your take on what you think, especially of the new ladies, because I have never watched Love and Hip Hop. And so K. Michelle I've heard of her, but I'd never really watched her. She's new to me. And then Pinky Cole, we've been writing a lot about her, and I knew about her just as an entrepreneur. What are you thinking so far?
I'm loving both Pinky and K. Michelle. So you guys know I was a huge Love and Hip Hop fan. I was a fan of K. Michelle's on the show. And if you guys are familiar with Love and Hip Hop, you know that their drama makes most housewife drama look very tame because they really go wild, like Bad Girls Club style. So I don't know if you're a Love and Hip Hop fan.
So things get physical.
Things get physical. Yeah, just very reactive.
Got it.
Pushing, or it doesn't even get physical, but the security comes in and separates and they're screaming. It goes to the next level, which sometimes happens on Housewives. But you can see that the women on Housewives, and what I noticed, where I knew this was true, was they're told not to do that on Housewives. And sometimes it does happen, but by and large. So the scene where you have Kelly, K. Michelle, and Portia, and everybody's nice, and Portia very nicely points out that she knows that Kelly had sex with a married man.
Do you believe that?
I don't believe it. I don't believe it, but I believe
that Portia got that text.
Yeah, I believe Portia wanted to get Kelly back. I believe there may be some sort of gray area with people whom Kelly has hooked up with, meaning legally married.
Yeah.
Or long-term significant other. I believe there may be some gray area because Kelly wasn't denying it 10 toes down. She was more like, this situation is not true. But what I noticed was K. Michelle watching it and almost being like, she said something where it was, wait, we're not allowed to do this on this show. And then they got up and hugged each other and she's like, wait, so this is what we do? Like, it was so funny because it really showed right there that production is very seriously, we are not fighting. We're not physically fighting. We're not having to call security over like this kind of thing.
Yeah.
I love K. Michelle. K. Michelle, first of all, I love country music and I love that she's like getting into it.
Because she's always wanted to, which I thought was really interesting, and that she'd been told by the record labels that she couldn't.
That is so interesting. And I really hope that this exposure affords her the glow up in the country space, because I will certainly download, stream, whatever you do to make artists profitable these days. I don't know, because you can't buy their album.
Right.
But her health issue, so she, years ago, she got butt implants or BBL. I don't know what it is, but she's had a lot of health issues with them. So when she was in...
As she said, illegal silicone injections.
Like, she's had so many health issues. So to me, I see both her and Pinky being like so real and so raw, and they're big names. They're not nobodies. So when someone like that comes on the show and is so honest about themselves, it ups the ante for all of the women to be authentic. Pinky off the bat sharing her, which good for her, because before Atlanta even started, it started leaking in TMZ and the press, and we're all posting and like leans on props. And she was totally transparent from the jump. So it isn't where, like Angela, when she came on last year, all of her financial issues, she didn't really talk about.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
She was not upfront about it. She started to talk once she got pinned down, but she was not upfront. And I agree, that it sets a much better tone for them both to come in and just say, here you go.
Yeah, and like from the Marge, I always credit Margaret Josephs because I just remember her doing it so well that her first season she came on and she's like, okay, here's all the stuff people could say about me. I cheated on my husband. I left him. I married the plumber. He was married, so broke up 2 marriages. A couple of my stepkids don't speak to me as a result, and anything else. Like,
what you got?
Yeah, so put it on the table. I also really Pinky's husband, and I know that so many of the men on Housewives are trash, and I hope he doesn't disappoint me because he's successful in his own right. I find him very cute. I think they're a super cool couple. Pinky's Jamaican. My sister-in-law's Jamaican, so I love that whole part of it. One thing I want to say to you, I want to get your thoughts on all of that, but how shocked are you that Ralph makes over $20,000 a month?
Oh my God, thank you. Because I actually was going to ask you the same question. Did I read actually that he makes 70 a month? I feel like I read
thought it was
that,
27,
and she makes
maybe
12.
It's 70. Yeah,
and
maybe it
and
was
I'm like,
it was,
how is she living on 12,000 a month? These movies must really not be paying very much. All of it feels very shocking to me. Only does it make sense in that I feel like Drew is never honest with us. But I would feel like even just from her housewife's salary, she should be making at least $12,000 a month.
my gasps are flabbered. How is Ralph? Was his book successful? Didn't he write a book?
It can't
Does
be
he
the
have an
book. I don't think
OnlyFans
people make
account?
that. Oh.
I don't know. That just popped into head. He is a very handsome man. If he never opened his mouth for the rest of his life. And I believe he's quite fit. I don't know.
Isn't OnlyFans video that I don't know. I don't go on there.
Sure you don't.
Is it just
Anytime
pictures? I don't know.
Did I just out myself as a Ralph OnlyFans subscriber?
Now I feel like I need to look. Okay, so I had to look it up. Drew Sidora earns roughly $12,066 per month, while her estranged husband, Ralph Pittman, earns $71,524 monthly, nearly 6 times her income.
And what I read about the custody issue is, while I think it is wild, apparently when they were in her care, they were late or absent from school a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and that's a problem.
That's such a big problem. Oh, I'm not saying it's not. I'm just...
Okay, it says Pittman works in tech. Is OnlyFans tech? I think it technically is.
I don't think he's in Silicon Valley writing code.
I mean,
who knows? Maybe you know what? Maybe he's a really bright guy who does some sort of online thing, making programs. I don't know. We don't know about it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't he brag about that, though?
It is interesting. It all is interesting. I don't know. My thought is Drew has never been super truthful with us as an audience or her co-stars. So I always take everything that she says with a bit of a grain of salt. But again, it was so shocking that Ralph makes 6 times as much money as she does.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, what is her income on Housewives? It's got to be at least 100,000, at least. Because this is her, what, 4th year on the show?
Maybe that's like bulk payment. I don't know. Maybe her lawyers were creative with how they did the math. I don't know. Maybe she had some setup with the network where it was I don't know.
Yeah. We'll cover Atlanta more as we get into it a little bit.
But the season is good. If you're not watching, watch. I think it's great.
Yeah,
I think Angela is putting a better foot forward. I think her making up with Phaedra was really good. Another thing I noticed is it was very obvious that production told them, a lot of you ladies got to mend these fences. We can't have everybody beefing.
Yeah.
That was obvious. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. And I also think that the guy that Portia had at this couple's dinner, it was not a boyfriend. That he
what was that?
He did great, and it wasn't anything about him. But then she brings Sway literally the next episode when there had only been a week. Like, I think she and Sway
That's the
had been
other
dating.
thing about Drew. How Drew made a comment like, "Oh, you're living how I
You're
live."
living my life.
We've all been speculating, and of course, the woman's name is going to escape me now. Taj. And I believe Ty used to date Mimi from Love and Hip Hop. So we got all the crossover. Listen, this is all Atlanta. So Candy's best friends with Rashida, like the Love and Hip Hop and Atlanta Housewives crossover in real life is really real because they're reality stars who are in the industry, and Atlanta's not but so big. So
I don't know. Drew, if you're listening, if you would just be more honest about what's really going on with you, I think we would all like you more.
A lot
I just
more.
don't believe, anything she says, I don't really believe her.
And Shamia I want Shamia's body now. She is such an insanely gorgeous woman.
She is.
They're all gorgeous. There's not like every one of them is gorgeous, but there's work and there is work, and Shamia has some good work on that body. Holy shit. She's worked out too. She's strong and fit, but that butt and those boobs, like it is so well proportioned.
She really does look amazing. Okay, let's talk about Rhode Island, because it's just been utter chaos in the best way.
Utter.
Of course, we have been talking about Rhode Island for a while. And so we had shared quite a while ago that we had intel about most of them. But let's start with Rulla. She is married to Brian, the cheating podiatrist. So this last episode, she has a bunch of her Lebanese friends over to discuss her husband's affair. You and I, being students of the show, I think it was probably her way of bringing it to camera before she had to deal with it with the other women. So like more of a safe environment, but that she's being open about it. But then we have Joellen in another scene sitting outside before Liz's party, saying to her husband, Rulla's husband, Brian, who also is a podiatrist, but also owned a med spa, that he called and made a complaint to HR at Joellen's job because Joellen had been talking about Brian's affair. So we see Joellen telling her husband, Gary, about this. And she tells him, like, essentially, I'll screw you, to her husband, if you confront Rulla's husband at the party. So we get to Liz's party for her husband, Jerry. So we've got Jerry, who's married to Liz. We've got Gary, who's married to Joellen. This party is insane.
No. Jerry's married to Liz.
Jerry is married to Liz.
Yes. Brian's married to Rulla.
Brian is married to Rulla. Gary is married to Joellen. We're going to get all of this, but it's just, we got to reinforce it a little bit as we're still getting to know everybody here. This party is over the top. The house is absolutely gorgeous.
Oh my God.
It
was like The Great Gatsby with the seawall.
Yeah, exactly. So when there's a whole thing with Liz that happens around this party, before this party, at this party. We'll talk about that in a minute. But during the party, Joellen and Gary do a sit down with Rulla and Brian and confront them about them trying to affect Joellen's job.
And I am going to give Joellen and Gary huge props for their gangster behavior, because in what world is his affair, which is being gossiped about by everybody because he's having an affair with a woman who, and we'll get to all that, is posting online and outing everything and wants everyone to know about the affair, but somehow it's Joellen's fault, which I can totally appreciate if Rulla or even Brian contacted Joellen and her husband and were like, hey, could you guys like stop talking about it? But to mess with somebody's livelihood and employment is so foul considering they haven't done anything.
Cocktailers, I have to tell you about Article Furniture. My husband and I have a room in our house that we've been wanting to update. It's a big room and I want to make it feel more cozy. So think darker colors on the wall, comfy furniture, and an overall, I just want to cuddle and get comfy kind of vibe. Enter Article Furniture. We were looking for a piece of furniture that could work sitting across from the couch, kind of facing the couch for group hangs, or as something that could work for extra seating when we have people over and are watching something on TV. So we got the Lee 47-inch Grand Velvet Swivel Lounge chair in the color Hail Ink. It's velvet and it is so soft. And I am not kidding when I tell you that my kids, one of which who is now much taller than me, my kids and I all fit in the chair together. It's perfect for this cozy vibe that we're going for. The quality is gorgeous and I'm so proud to have it in my room. Article makes it effortless to create a stylish, long-lasting home at an unbeatable price. Article takes great care in bringing a curated collection that is truly focused on high-quality, meaningful pieces that will stand the test of time. There's no filler. Every item is chosen for its craftsmanship, design, and lasting value. And that's really important to me because teenagers and dogs can be really, really hard on furniture. So I'm really focused on buying furniture that is meant to last. Their shipping is fast across the US and Canada, and they offer options for professional assembly if you prefer a hands-off experience. And I have no business trying to lift large pieces of furniture. So when Article's delivery came, all I had to do was point to where the chair would go. Article is offering cocktailers $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. To claim, please visit article.com/gossip, and the discount will automatically be applied at checkout. That's Article, article.com/gossip for $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. Cocktailers. I've been doing a little spring reset with my closet lately. I've been focusing more on quality over quantity. Just building a wardrobe of pieces that are well made, versatile, and easy to reach for every day. And that is why I keep coming back to Quince. The fabrics feel elevated, the fits are thoughtful, and the pricing actually makes sense. I've really been taking a look at what I actually wear and what needs to be replaced. Because, my day-to-day has really changed over the last few years. Now that I don't go into an office as much, I need more kind of everyday basics that can go from school pickup to sports sidelines to my home office to dinner with a girlfriend. One thing that I think is essential for every woman is a classic white linen shirt. I always have at least one because I think they work over a tank. They look so cute, tied at the bottom with cute shorts or a skirt or even over a swimsuit. I mentioned to you guys that I had ordered one from Quince because I had worn a hole in the elbow of my other white linen shirt, not from Quince. This one is gorgeous. I wore it on Easter, tied at the bottom with a very colorful skirt with it. So kind of an instant chic look. The quality of the 100% European linen shirt is so good that I'm already planning to order another. I have my eye on the striped one. And the prices, I had to double check because I could not believe I got such a beautifully made shirt for $42. It makes sense that Quince works directly with ethical factories and cuts out the middleman because then you're paying for quality and not brand markup. Refresh your spring wardrobe with Quince. Go to quince.com/cocktails for free shipping and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. Go to quince.com/cocktails for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/cocktails. Cocktailers, before I started Nutrafol, I wondered, would it work for me? I had heard such great things, but I was definitely a little skeptical. Well, I was so happy that my skepticism was not founded in my case. Within 3 months, I started finding baby hairs. Within 6 months, I had a whole new layer of hair growing in. And my crowning achievement, pun intended, right now, my hair is longer than it's been in probably 8 years. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand, and it's the #1 hair growth supplement brand personally used by dermatologists. Nutrafol's hair growth supplements are peer-reviewed, NSF certified for sport, and clinically tested. Let your hair be one less thing to worry about. See visibly thicker, stronger, faster-growing hair in 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you visit Nutrafol.com and enter promo code GOSSIP. That's Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code GOSSIP.
So the cheating podiatrist's husband says absolutely nothing. So awkward. A lot of people were in my DMs saying it looked like the two of them had been skiing up a very deep slope, down a very deep slope. I don't know, but the silence spoke volumes. He didn't deny that he was still seeing the woman. He admitted the affair, but he didn't shut Joellen down. And she was like, you didn't have an affair. You are having an affair. You're still with this woman. And Brian's cat's got his tongue. And I felt terrible for Rulla in that moment because she's just sitting there. And what it gave me was Shannon and David Bedore vibes when they joined and they were the show and they were clearly in a very disjointed marriage. And that is the feeling that I have with Rulla and Brian.
It's funny that you bring that up because I was thinking it reminded me of Kelsey Grammer and Camille. This man, the cheating podiatrist, gave literally nothing at the table, which was so strange to me. And then it was absolute crickets in the car. So was he worried? Was he worried at that time what the mistress would think if he lied and said that, like, why wouldn't he deny that the affair was still going on? It was so strange. Maybe
why
he's
not
mentally checked out? Maybe.
Right. And right. Why not try to lie? Even if Joellen then whipped out receipts or something, why not attempt to lie? I feel I'm seeing a man who's checked out and who doesn't give a shit. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
So fast forward to this week, I receive a picture of the mistress in what appears to be her having a photo shoot at Rulla's house. So she posted this February 3rd. Same cocktailer writes back a little while later. They're like, holy shit, B. February 3rd, Rulla posted from the Berkshires. So she was away with Bravo filming the girls' trip, which, by the way, is going to be on our screens in August. Side note.
Yes.
So I'm like, February 3rd, February, I do a side-by-side. I get flooded with the Lebanese friends and family who are at that table, start DMing me. And they're like, this picture's from 2023. So I said, okay, thank you for it was snowing in February. I said, thank you for the clarification. The fact remains that on February 3rd, she posted it to get under Rulla's skin. Now, in 2023, there was a party at the house for the med spa. So this woman is a very well-known esthetician. I'm told she co-owned or had a financial interest in the med spa owned by Brian. She was at their house in 2023 for a party. I'm going to guess it was a Christmas party because it was December. Since I'm told the med spa closed down for a time, I believe it's reopened. She's no longer a part of it. She was also married at the time. I don't believe she is anymore. So part of her wanting to keep posting and getting this out could be because her own marriage dissolved as a result of the affair. That could be a factor, or she's just still hung up on Brian, or she's obsessed with the fact that they're on Bravo because she keeps tagging Bravo and hashtagging messy.
Like to hashtag RHORI, full on associating herself with the show.
But all of this has proven Joellen to be truthful, that she learned about this from the internet. But another thing to note is that Joellen works in med spa, esthetician, whatever that is, that world. She works as a sales girl. She knows all the injectors. She knows the mistress. Everybody knows about this. So what they're mad about is clearly that Joellen brought it to camera, as if it wouldn't have come out anyway.
And again, justice for Joellen in this case, because Joellen reached out to, I think it was Liz or Alicia, I can't remember, who then told Rulla that Joellen had seen these pictures because Joellen also knew this woman because their kids went to the same preschool. And so she sees this. And then, so she has the pictures. Rulla begs her, please, woman to woman, I really want to know. And then is pissed because Joellen's, okay, I sent it to you like you asked, and now you're mad. And it's just a classic shoot the messenger situation. But the woman that the cheating podiatrist has had an affair with, like, this is giving a little Fatal Attraction to me. This woman is absolutely shameless. And
the foot doctor looks like a foot, so that's weird.
He's not that big of a prize, ladies. Fight over, I don't know, not him. I don't know. The fact that he did not go the extra mile to make it clear that it's over, even just privately to Rulla, I would understand if I don't need to tell everybody else what's going on in my personal life right now. I don't need to justify myself, but privately in the car that he didn't say anything. That man it's trash. He's trash for cheating. He's trash for acting this way after the affair.
A man DMs me, and Rhode Island residents, we love you. Please keep sending us this juice. Don't stop. If I had to guess, I would say this was Rulla's first husband because he simply let me know that Rulla and Brian got together through cheating on their significant others. He used the word significant others, so I don't know if one of them was married and one of them was in a relationship or what have you, but he said, yeah, this is how their relationship started. They cheated on their significant others and got together. The person said, once a cheat, always a cheat. And on the show, Rulla does point out that she doesn't want to talk about her first marriage.
Right.
So the math is mathing.
And that her parents were upset about it.
Cheating.
Yeah.
I wonder if the first husband was Lebanese and Brian wasn't, and that was part of why they were upset.
Oh, that could be. We say it almost every episode. How you get them is how you lose them.
Yep.
It does not stand to reason to me that if you start a relationship where you're both cheating, that your new husband will never cheat on you. That is never going to make sense to me ever, because I think how you get them is how you lose them. Okay, so one other thing about all of this is we got a cocktailer who sent in yesterday that there is now a breach of contract lawsuit on the table between Brian and the ex-mistress. So all we saw was the first page of the filing. It doesn't really say any detail about what the suit is actually about. We'll keep on top of that and update you all. Somebody said it could be just a non-compete issue. It's really hard to tell at this point. But
well, and then I did get something. Did I post it yet, or did I send it to you? I'll find it. You keep going.
Okay. Yeah, if there's anything there, that would be interesting. But last week, we mentioned something about a housewife having a connection to John Gotti. And that was cleared up, but I still want to talk about it. Because it said the goddaughter of John Gotti was interviewing to be casted, was at some of these parties, including this one that we just watched. Her name is Monique Pass, married to ex-NFL player Patrick Pass. You guys will remember he's also the guy who was an ex-Patriot player who was accused of assaulting an 80-year-old man at Planet Fitness. I remember us talking about this very clearly on the pod. I want to say it was even last summer. It's been a while. So I, of course, got curious. I looked at her Instagram, and she is not hiding her ties to John Gotti. She's posted pictures with him on her.
John Gotti Jr., I assume. John Gotti's
Well, I think, or from, there was one, it was like about him being in heaven.
senior.
So I think that would be senior, but I don't know very much about I know the old John Gotti stuff, but I don't know anything about the rest of his family. But then she also posted this bizarre mobbish animated video of her that shows her pointing a gun. I'm guessing there are maybe multiple things that gave Bravo pause as far as including her in the cast.
I would say so.
Yeah. There are other alleged mob ties on Rhode Island that are linked to Dino, who is the friend of Liz. And so if you guys will remember, Liz got really upset because she wanted to show everybody during this party that she and her husband, now I'm thinking Jerry, that she and Jerry and Dino are all just good friends and that everything's okay. And she didn't feel like she got to do that. But Dino, like, there's a lot about him that he has something like 7 charges, felony charges against him. This case is still open. Let me tell you a little bit about what we found. So there's a local paper that says Dino Gilmet. It's a Gilmet. I'm gonna do my best and say that's Gilmetti, maybe. A former boxer and actor who the police say has ties to the New England La Costa Nostra, which is one of the mafia. Yeah, the mob. That he's facing these felony charges. You guys will remember he also had a child with Aaron Hernandez, the Patriots player's former fiance, Cheyenne Jenkins. One of the documents filed says that there was an affidavit that outlines the claims that the state police made that he is directly tied to key players in the mob, is a significant figure in cocaine trafficking in the region, that there are 5 confidential informants who provided all of this information for the investigation. But long story short, essentially, these charges have to do with him allegedly selling and distributing large quantities of cocaine, bringing it in through the port through Rhode Island from an origin likely in the Caribbean, and that it is believed that he and his association have a multi-layered operation with numerous security contacts that safeguard this operation and are likely compensated for their assistance.
So apparently this case is still open, and I have been told that Liz and her husband are named, although they haven't been convicted. So that's a gray area. We could have our legal cocktailers obviously look more into it. Shout out to Elle, and they know who they are.
And I did try to look at this case because you guys know I like to do that. Every state is different. Most of them I can get access to. And I think Rhode Island is one of those where, yes, the public can get access, but you have to ask permission. We're not going to get involved in that.
No. So Rhode Island really is giving Jersey vibes because if you guys remember, the Manzos, when it first started, had their mafia rumors, which apparently there ended up being truth to. We learned all those years later, even though they vehemently denied it. Tommy Manzo, who's Albert's brother, is currently serving time because he had a Cosa Nostra, somebody in there in the mob, beat up Dina and her husband. We also had Danny, who was Danielle's henchman.
Yeah.
Who had a lot of illegal activities. He was obviously low on the mafia totem pole, but a gangster nonetheless. And then I got a DM, and you guys know me when I get my early DMs. So I got a DM with a link, and it was Kelsey's second boyfriend, who we'll get to Kelsey's second boyfriend, but Billy La Europa or something. And so I posted it, and then you guys were like, B, this guy's 60. And it was from years prior.
Yeah.
So that was his dad. But so Billy, Kelsey's second boyfriend's also involved, and his family has been involved in tax fraud and illegal dealings. But let's discuss Kelsey girl and the fact that she brought her second boo right on the television.
So she brings him on, has a coffee date with him, talks about him in her confessional. We see her mom say, "How's my future son-in-law Billy doing?" But then at Liz's party, He's invited because he knows Liz and Jerry as well. She definitely seems to be keeping her distance and not wanting to get too close to him. I was watching and I was like, is this because at the time she's still trying to keep her first boyfriend, the rich boyfriend? And also, I am imagining that if he's picking, this is totally off topic, but if this first boyfriend who lives in Miami at the rest of the year, or the other half of the year, I'm sure that he's picking the summer to be in Rhode Island with Kelsey, not the winter, because Rhode Island is gorgeous in the summer. So he's probably, I'm guessing, around. So maybe that's why is like she's trying to not just publicly two-time him.
I agree with you. I think that he was home for this summer because, as you said, and we know this about snowbirds, if we live on the East Coast, I was just down in Florida at end of April after Passover and Easter. The snowbirds are heading back up to New York, New Jersey, Rhode Island, wherever they live. My feeling is that relationship is on the way out, and she knows that, whether it's her choice, his choice, amicable split, but they're seeing the summer out. And so Billy is waiting in the wings because I think she's trying to get her ducks in a row for when he goes back to Miami. I would imagine she'll no longer be in the home.
Yeah, I would also imagine maybe she's trying to find another boyfriend who can support her
keep up
in the way
she
that
said,
she
Billy's
wants to
successful, but not so successful that I won't be able to work, and I don't want to work.
Right.
Kudos for your honesty.
Yeah, good for her. Okay, so we also get more of a glimpse of Ashley and Jared's life and their coffee shop. So I think this has been a labor of love for Jared. It just seems like they're at a critical point where she's feeling like a work widow, but for a business that just isn't bringing in very much income. Whereas we talked about this last week, she has more followers than Lindsay Hubbard and Sierra and Amanda, and she's gonna get a lot more just from being on the show. So she can make more money in what I'm sure feels like a lot less stressful of a way. So my guess is that they're hoping to hold on until Rhode Island premiered so that the business would pick up and that maybe hopefully he can hire like a manager or somebody to be there. But that's my guess. I'm sure they will start, if they haven't already, to get a big bump in people coming in business.
I'm in complete agreement. Watching it, it read to me like Ashley's the one who makes the money. The coffee shop is a passion project for him, which my thing is that's totally cool. And I understand him wanting to have a job and not just listen, some men are cool with being a stay-at-home dad if their wife is the breadwinner, and some men want to work even if they're not making equal money. Vice versa for women and men, right? These are decisions people make in marriages, and it's fine. My thing is, it sounds like this coffee shop is all consuming, and Ashley's getting to a point where she's been really patient, but she's getting to a point where like, why the fuck are you never home? This shit doesn't even make any money. And meantime, I'm running like my brand deals and my this and my that. And I could use some help at home. You know what I'm saying? And not have to hire the nanny or whomever is watching the kids while you're sitting in a coffee shop serving one cup of coffee with a machine that doesn't work. So I do feel like there is the aspect of, for some men, it's emasculating. But my thing is, it's a good point you raised that they're probably waiting for the show to come out and hope business picks up. And I hope that he does hire more help for the coffee shop, because absolutely he should have his own thing. And I know we watched Bo and Stassi open up about that on last season's Vanderpump Villa, where Stassi makes so much money and his line of work isn't as profitable. And so he stepped away from it to do the at-home thing. And he does feel like he doesn't contribute. So I can 100% appreciate that as the other spouse, whether it's a man or a woman. But to have a job that doesn't earn and takes you away, like, it's kind of, I guess what I'm saying is, if this is something he does 9 to 2, cool. But if this is taking you away from your family and adding stress to your wife because you're there all hours of the day and night, it's too much.
I think that's always the hard thing with any kind of restaurant, brick and mortar, is like there's got to be somebody there. And I think it's a huge struggle for so many people. And I think it'll be interesting to see. I think one of the things that's really nice about them having this coffee shop is I think it's nice when there's people who come in town and they want They want a landmark, right? To be like, oh, that's the coffee shop, or oh, that's Sutton's store, or Villa Blanca was Lisa Vanderpump's restaurant. I think people like to have a landmark like that.
Yes.
Like I said, hopefully they're just holding on for that, and that, because it does seem to me like if they don't, they're at a critical point in their marriage too, where if they don't get this figured out, it's gonna really fester for them.
I just wanted to, before we move on to our girl Lisa Hochstein, I found, so Rulla's husband Brian this week filed a lawsuit against the mistress. And one of you guys sent to me from the complainant, because it's like people aren't sure what the lawsuit's about. So this says, since the execution of the said confidential settlement agreement and release, the defendant Beth Walker has materially breached and continues to breach the confidentiality and non-disparagement provisions of said agreement by making public statements in social media about the facts and circumstances that formed the basis of the original lawsuit. So I can see the confusion where people were thinking it's about their relationship, but the person said it seems it's about business, because what I think is there was some sort of non-compete, and maybe she's been out publicly bad-mouthing his med spa is my guess.
Or Rulla was like, you can't be in business with this woman anymore. You have to essentially buy her out. And there was some sort of agreement that's okay, but you can't talk about us. Because that's very common when there's any kind of settlement.
Here's your $200,000. Now don't discuss our affair anywhere. That
you can't talk about any of it. Yeah.
But in other words, people online were saying that he was suing her about an affair, but they were in business together.
No.
So yes, the affair, to Amanda's point, could have played that part. Okay, you got your settlement, but you're breaking the NDA, so now give me $100,000 back. It could be that kind of thing. Also, Beth has this is the mistress, 2 divorce proceedings if you look her up. One she filed and dropped, dismissed due to reconciliation, but the husband refiled in 2024. So.
Oh, right around when it seems like the affair was happening, at least, because that's what we heard as it was in 2024. Yeah, makes sense.
So now let's get to Lisa Hochstein.
There's a warrant out for Monkey.
That was great. So if you guys missed it, Marisol just posted Miami is crazy, and a fan of the show wrote, Marisol, adios mio, there's a warrant out for Monkey. You guys will remember that Marisol calls Lisa Monkey. As a affectionate nickname.
Yeah. Okay, Lisa, there was a warrant out for her, and Jody got arrested. I think this was Monday. So then yesterday, Lisa voluntarily surrendered to Miami police to face a felony charge of interception of wire, oral, or electric communications. Her ex-boyfriend, Jody Glidden, was arrested on the same charge earlier that week on April 11th and was released on a $5,000 bond after entering a not guilty plea. So the charge, like we said, is essentially interception of some sort of electronic communications. The allegation is that they unlawfully and intentionally intercepted or tried to intercept conversations involving Lisa's ex-husband, Lenny, and those he spoke with. So this happened in 2023. In May 2023, Lenny accused Lisa of planting a listening device in his car. One of the cocktailers told us last night that it was in his Maybach, and that she borrowed it, saying, I want to drive it just to see if it's something I like. And then she taped, I guess they essentially taped some sort of listening device in the car, and it fell out, and Lenny found it. Lawyers for them both released a joint statement saying that this matter belongs in civil divorce proceedings rather than criminal court. Lisa was released on her own recognizance yesterday, and then seen, first of all, best mugshot ever, but then also after she was in jail, went out for margaritas for dinner.
I can't.
So yeah, so we've got a little bit of info, but it sounds like
a lot of you guys were nervous she would be deported, but she is a U.S. citizen. She was born in Canada. She became a naturalized citizen in May 2024. On the Zoom, somebody asked, would they revoke that? I don't think so.
Once you're a citizen, you're a citizen. I think if you have a green card and there's something, I think they can revoke that.
So we, on the Zoom, had a very informed legal cocktailer. We will leave it at that. And Do you want to share what she...
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So seriously, badass group of cocktailers, all of you guys. One is a prosecutor. She gave us her thoughts on what will happen. She said in Florida, especially with first offenses, they are very rehabilitation focused, which means they're not as much send them to jail. Like they want to try to have a punishment that makes them do better and not commit a crime again. So she thinks they'll either get diversion and that the charges will be lowered to misdemeanor or even expunged, or that it could result in what's called a withhold of adjudication, which would essentially just have similar results. The difference is if they can only offer diversion if the victim agrees to it. So Lenny has to agree to diversion, and we all know what Lenny is like, so he probably won't. But that our cocktailer said it's probably not going to matter materially either way because they'll both have the same results in her opinion. She did say though that since the incident happened in 2023 and Lisa and Lenny's divorce was settled in 2024, it likely should not affect the closed divorce, but that depending on how the divorce terms were written, it could affect her alimony. Because it could be that like if one of you, if Lisa commits a crime against Lenny or violates whatever, then he can withdraw alimony. So it could be about that.
I want to say what popped into my head is we know that Lenny built her that house, which I believe she moved into. And I just feel, yes, this is about money. I don't think Lenny's trying to send Lisa to jail. I think he's trying to maybe get out of having to have her in the house, get out of alimony. He's motivated to not have to pay her. That's my thought.
I agree. And
I'm relieved to know that it's very unlikely that she'll do jail time.
Yeah. Huge thank you to our baddie cocktailer. You know who you are.
Yes.
We have a little more time. Just a quick thing about Ladies of London. Again, guys, if you're not watching it or you saw the first go round a few years ago, you didn't love it. The clothes, the polo, Missy's boob just popping out. There is literally not one person on this show that I don't want to see more of, which you guys know us well enough. Like we've always got opinions and there's a lot of people that we're like, man, they could go, whatever. Every single one of them I think is so fun. And actually what I really loved about the last episode is I feel like we're watching a very classic reality TV clash. So two women claim the same person as their best friend and fight over her. Just think about it. We've seen it on Beverly Hills, where Lisa and Dorit both fought over Kyle being their best friend. So in this case, Martha is best friends with both Kimmy and Margot. So Kimmy is the one with the adorable gap tooth smile. Martha is the one who lives with a bird who poops all over her house, had been homeless, and now it has the title of lady. And then Margot is the American who used to live in London and now is back and sober. But of course, Kimmy and Margot are clashing, and Kimmy is mad at Martha for continuing to be friends with Margot. Like this to me is the kind of drama I love. Nobody's getting arrested. Nobody's driving drunk. People are calling each other cows and psycho bitches. What do you think about this whole friendship triangle? Do you have a side?
I do have a side, and I am team Kimmy. I ride for Kimmy. I love Kimmy. I find Margot absolutely humorless, and I also think Margot's a huge troublemaker. I agree that Kimmy's comments, because Kimmy and Margot are currently beefing about an insensitive thing Kimmy said about Missy. But the reality is that Margot has taken a lot of what people have said. She is the one who was exploiting the Dara being a madam rumor. She has taken a lot. She is the one who said that Mark's family, which they haven't even addressed yet, and I hope they do, Mark's family disowned him, and he's not a real member of society, and he's Emma's bag holder. She says really nasty, disgusting things about people. And then when people, like when Mark made fun of her outfit behind her back, or when Kimmy was like, you're a fucking pot stower for repeating what I said, she cries and plays victim. Margot makes great TV because she does bring the drama and everything like that, but humorless, troublemaker, zero accountability, victim, ugh.
I do have to agree with Mark. Crushed Velvet, it should stay in the 90s.
And listen, Margot could really pull anything off. She has a beautiful figure.
Right.
I just would also like to add, because I do want to get to a little bit of Summer House, I adore Martha. I when she was on that horse and like she is so kooky and lovable, and she just has an energy. She's
Agreed.
a vibe.
I love her. I love her.
Okay.
Summer House. Let's go.
We're gonna get through some of this debacle.
Okay.
So Friday, Amanda made a statement, which people were like, why is she making this statement? She was basically like, hey guys, I'm truly sorry. I reached out to the people in my life that I hurt, but for the sake of my mental health, I'm going to be posting on social media and I'm going to be out and about. But I do really feel bad. So when you see me, know that I feel bad, but for my mental health, I need to post on social media and I need to hang out in bars. Okay, love you, bye. So that evening, hours later, I get a DM. It's a picture of her at a bar in the city, which, by the way, bars that West and Amanda go to are college bars. They're basically for transplants who are not from New York City. Very random, not cool spots, not prime. Much
It doesn't look very fun in there either. It's balls to butts in there.
It's for young kids. They probably have like beer specials. I don't get it. There they are. They then left the bar because there were pictures circulating. Also, for everyone who was like, oh my God, how dare you post a picture of them? Wes posted to his stories that he was there in real time. So like he's outing himself.
And guys, we got a lot of those pictures, not just from one person.
Yeah.
Like, and pictures taken in a public place. Yeah.
So they left. They went on a date with another couple. They were allegedly making out on the date. A lot of rumors that West has a skiing problem and that Amanda has hired him as an instructor. I really hoped that she would realize that he's a fuckboy who has no intentions of being with her and is only doing this to save his reputation, and that she would go to the reunion and be apologetic. But clearly that's not the choice she made.
So just when I feel like last week kind of the tides were turning a little bit because Kyle went out and was defending her and saying, I'm worried about her mental health and Wes is manipulative and he can say anything to get any woman into bed and that Wes has been manipulating her. Just when we start to be like, maybe she goes out and does this and just digs herself even deeper, I think.
And there's just so much to it. Like, it's confirmed Shailene or Mejia or both, those are his two main other girls. He was hooking up with them as recently as March 24th. And on March 28th is when West and Amanda were spotted at Malarkey's in Newport Beach. They were both in California. And then someone said, by the way, B, I helped Amanda to the bathroom at Malarkey's. She was like, do not tell anyone I saw you. She was lost. And I think, although I don't want to accuse her, that she was skiing. Same as West. So like,
I don't really know what people, I'm going to sound so naive, guys, but I thought when people are they're like sweaty and talking really fast.
I know that the jaw like goes back and forth. I don't know, but these people seem to know.
Right. But the key timing on that, guys, remember, so they were seen on Saturday, March 28th. I feel like we've lived a lifetime in the last couple of weeks here, but Thursday, March 26th is the day that we released the emergency pod saying, hey, we didn't believe this. And now the evidence is really posting. And we still said it might not be, but it's really hard to ignore. And it looks like they are or have been hooking up. And remember, that whole weekend, everyone was hoping that it was an April Fool's joke. Yeah.
This episode, and so Andy said in his show that they are like re-editing. And remember, when they say they're re-editing, they're not creating new footage. They're just going back and saying, oh shit, let's see. And they're finding things. There's so much. We spoke about this at length on the Zoom, but when Amanda, you and I will just point out like what stuck out to us. What stuck out to me was when Amanda flipped on Kyle about Kyle not being more mad at West for hooking up with a girl in front of Ciara. And she screamed at him and everyone was so confused because she's never screamed at Kyle. Even when Kyle cheated on her, she never screamed at him that bad. But she says to West something to the extent of, and I may not be saying exactly, we live in a house together and there has to be a minimum level of respect when you live in a house. It's, oh, so you shouldn't be fucking West under your husband and Ciara's nose?
Her behavior was definitely strange, and everyone was sharing their jaw dropping the moments their jaws drop. But I still cannot get over Amanda saying to West, watch my butt as I walk away. I was literally talking to my husband about this last night, and he's, like sometimes there's people who are like kind of flirty or whatever. And I was like, You would lose your mind if I said that to another, even like our good friends. Like to that, like you would lose your freaking
Rightfully
mind.
so.
Rightfully
It's
so. I would
disrespectful
never. Yeah, to be clear, I would never. But I was like, okay, that to me is a piece of evidence that I am like, okay, maybe there was something.
What about nothing to do with West? What about when she said she was going to apologize to Sabrina after she told Sabrina, oh, everyone in the house thinks he's in love with me, and something about Italy, about him wanting to fuck her. I don't know exactly what she said. And I shouldn't have mentioned that because that's not my story to tell. That's not an apology. That's you being like, yeah, your boyfriend has been flirting with me all summer and did want to fuck me in Italy, but that's for him to share with you. What a fucking bitch. And Mia and Ciara crying with her and hugging her and being riding for her. And whether or not it was happening then or it happened after, the fact that she chose West over that is crazy and self-destructive. KJ is coming out in full force today. I was so happy to see. He posted a video of him like in a studio, and in the background is playing You Ain't a Friend of Mine from the 50 Cent song Wankster. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he's calling West a wankster, chef's kiss, but also when he actually says you ain't a friend of mine, I am like, yes. Now, listen, I don't know how good of friends KJ and West really were. Yes, West introduced him, and I'm sure they hung out before filming, but clearly they became friends, whether or not, because we know sometimes casting just says that. But he is writing for Ciara because this is against his moral code, and I appreciate that. As a man, he's just going after the man, as he should. I don't want to see any of the guys attack Amanda, and I don't think we will, but he is not taking his foot off the gas. There is no break for West.
And talk about Kyle Cook going from 2 weeks ago being like reality TV's most hated man, right, to a phoenix rising from the ashes. This world that we love to talk about, it is never boring.
I'm going to close with the point that we made on the pod last night.
Okay.
Because shout out to Emma, a lovely college senior whose mom follows us and she follows us too. And she's a sociology major and she's writing her thesis on reality television and the commentary and accounts like mine, etc. So her and I were talking and it like occurred to me. I was like, I get it now. The thing with reality television is you can be a flawed person. You can make mistakes. You can make the same mistakes. You could do all the things. But when you lie, when you show yourself to be caught in a pattern of lying, that's what you don't come back from. So the reason why none of us have turned our backs on Kyle Cook is an enigma in many ways. Kyle Cook has done many things wrong. The way he has spoken to women, the way he has treated his wife, tons of things, but he takes accountability for his behavior. He has on many occasions. When he was asked on camera by Amanda about the cheating rumors, he didn't deny them. Those are the things. Now, Amanda, okay, first she lied about their separation more than one time. Fine, we get it. Your marriage is splitting up. You tell us when you're ready. She did multiple interviews saying she would never touch anyone on the cast whilst touching West's you-know-what. The lies. So that is what you don't come back from. West, liar, snake, lies. So that is what we don't come back from.
I agree. I think it's really not working for Amanda. And I agree. When somebody is breaking up and we happen to get the details and share it and they weren't ready or they weren't contractually allowed to announce their split, that is one thing. But also, Wes looking straight at the camera and telling America that Amanda's just a good friend. Maybe he is actually telling the truth. Right. And maybe he was because maybe that's all he saw her really as at that point. Who knows? But yeah, they both been lying to our faces, under our noses, and us cocktailers are not having it.
Not having it. Also, guys, cameras did pick up, I believe last Thursday, Kyle, Amanda, Lindsay filmed. So our cocktail Amanda, was right. They're going to pick up cameras for In the City. Girl, kudos. You got that one.
Course.
Everyone, when I posted this, was like, Amanda clocked that. Oh my God. I was like, she sure did.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day.
Oh, stop. We love you guys. We didn't get to the Valley. We need more Atlanta. We need more Ladies of London. We're going to do all of that. But
Beverly Hills.
Beverly Hills.
Finale tonight, right?
Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. Let's
All
go.
right. Love you guys.
Bye.
What's up, cocktailers? We want to thank you, as always, for listening to Cocktails and Gossip. Because of you, we've hit some amazing milestones, had some hilarious conversations, and have grown a truly amazing community. If you haven't already followed our podcast, hit the follow button in the top right of your Apple Podcast player, the follow button under the show logo on Spotify, or the subscribe button on Google Podcasts. We thrive on you, our audience. So make sure to tell all your gossip-loving friends about us too. And if you want to get all the tea, join our membership cocktail party by going to bravoandcocktails.com/join. Our members get access to the exclusive tea we post, the weekly podcast without ads, plus another additional bonus podcast every week. And of course, members also get to join us on our monthly live cocktail party Zoom, where we talk about the latest tea and even share tea that's just too hot to put in writing. Last, but maybe best, our members get access to the Cocktail Party Discord, where you can chat with Amanda, me, and all of the other cocktailers as well. There are always some great combos and hilarious comments happening in Discord. Thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate you.